I'm hitting it.
My job, hit the button. All right.
If everyone can make sure they're muted, just because it makes it a little bit easier, please. Perfect. All right. I think most of you probably know me, but just in case, I'm Amy Pollard. I'm the executive director of our union. And there are just some changes in the contract, in the new contract for the 2021 to 24 faculty agreement that are specific to special lectures. And it seemed like a good opportunity to maybe just to try to explain them in a meeting. I do also have a written text of summary of the points I'm going to make today. And I'm going to share that with all the special lectures after the meeting, but I wanted to hold off on sending it out in case I had to add or change anything after our meeting today. So there's nothing earth shattering I'm going to share today, but it just seemed easier and more functional to do it in a meeting. So first thing is that one of the differences in the contract this time around is that special lectures will get extended contracts. So if you are in year 4, moving forward, your contract will be now 2 years, starting a year earlier than it would have before. And if you're at year 8 or more, you will get a 3-year contract instead of a 2-year contract. So we have been in talks with Oakland about how they're going to do that, because we want you to have new contracts that actually state your term. And so what Joy Cunningham and Human Resources have told us is that either by the end of this semester or more likely at the beginning of next semester, all of those special lectures impacted, and there's sort of 2 groups. There's groups at year 4 and groups at year 8 or above that are going to be impacted. You will get new contracts emailed out to you that will spell out the new terms of your contract with that additional year, right? In the document that I have that I'll send out, there's a little chart that will kind of tell you which years are impacted, and that will help clarify it a little bit if you're confused. If you ever don't know where you are in your own contract, because a lot of special lectures, I was a special lecturer for 12 years. I never knew how many years I had served. So you can email HR and they'll research it for you. Michelle Mish is a good person to email. Her email is just mich@oakland.edu. And she should be able to track down, let me just type that in there. She should be able to track down where you are in terms of a contract length for being a special lecturer. I know some of you were lecturers for a long time before you became special lecturers. Some of you have done that bounce where you're a special lecturer for a couple of years and then you're a lecturer and then you're a special lecturer. And so it can be hard to determine the contract length. So that one's pretty simple. That's one change to the contract. Another simple change to the contract is that the tuition benefit is increased from 10 credits to 12 credits for special lectures. And it's important to remember, and I don't know that all special lecturers know this, that your special lecture, those 12 credits can be transferred to a spouse, a dependent child, or an other qualified adult. You are allowed to transfer that in the same way that full-time faculty members are allowed to transfer their benefit as well. So, I mean, the increase went up by 2 credits. So basically you can take at least 3 4-credit classes now a year. And so then the big one is the stipend, the annual stipend. So part of the big frustration in bargaining was that no matter what we said, no matter what we did, Oakland made it clear they were not giving a dime to special lectures in retirement, just no matter what. I mean, we got down to 2% at one point. It was like, just give them 2%, and they were having nothing to do with it. And so as part of the settling of the contract, their solution was this $500 stipend that will be given in each year of this contract. So it'll be given in April of 22, April of 23, and April of 24. They made it very clear that it's only specific to this contract and we shouldn't expect it to continue, but we'll deal with that one later. It will be distributed in April because the idea is that will mean the special lecturer will have delivered all of their 16 credits of courses and therefore deserve their $500 stipend. You don't have to do anything to get it. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to anything. As long as you've met the requirements, it will just show up in your paycheck. So you don't have to worry about that. But the idea, the way they tried to sell it, which was false, but the way they tried to sell it was like, well, special lecturers could use that money for retirement if they wanted to. So it's like we're giving them a retirement contribution. So there's a little bit of truth to that, not a lot of truth to that, but the only way that that money can really be used in any functional pre-tax way is if in the month of April, you already have a pre-existing Oakland retirement plan and you up your contribution for the month of April by $500. So that was, let me see if I can back up. So special lecturers don't get any retirement contribution from Oakland, but you can still participate. You can still become part of one of the, it's TIA, CREF, or Fidelity. You can still sign up and contribute your own funds to those retirement plans. So if you decide you want to use the money that way, you're going to have to sign up for one of the two plans, whichever one you want, and then you'll sign up to have standard deductions. And then this is the really weird and confusing part. In March of 2022, what you'll need to do is change your deduction form to say that you want $500 taken out in April. And then in April, you're going to have to sign another form that says, okay, in May, I want it to go back to whatever it was before, assuming you are not regularly taking $500 out of your special lecture pay each month for retirement, which probably most people aren't. Questions about the retirement thing, because I think that's probably the most confusing bit. No questions?
Actually, yeah, Amy, I thought the retirement thing.
Yep.
When I transitioned from visiting professor to special lecturer, I was told I was no longer, because I actually had as a visiting professor, the TIA CREF, and there was actually matching, which it was fabulous. But then I wanted to contribute just on my own without matching. And I have been told no, repeatedly, that is not possible. So is this possible now?
Yeah, and it's been possible. So I don't know
Who do we? I was talking with HR and benefits and over again, because I wanted to get into that. I wanted to add more of the TIA instead of having to open, like, do you know what I mean? Like I had an existing things and I had like start my own like attempt.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who you spoke with. And I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, that's been the policy as long as I've been around.
No,
and
that's cool.
Go ahead, Susan.
Would it be missionoakland.edu who I should contact?
Oh, no. For so Corey Brittingham is the best person to contact in terms of this. They'll tell you the address they always give you is benefits@oakland.edu. Because that goes to all of them. But I hate using those general email addresses because I feel like it just goes into a black hole and nobody pays any attention. It's like when you use provost@oakland.edu, it just goes into a black hole. So I would much rather use a direct email address. Can someone, Stefan or someone who's in front of their computer, can someone look up Corey Brittingham's email address and put it in the chat, please? But I've talked to him extensively before having this meeting, so I made sure I had all the information. In the document I have the links to signing up for TIA CREF and for signing up for Fidelity, and then I have the link to the deduction forms that you then have to fill out. So I have all of that there.
Well, then I just have to, I know you haven't been able to give us a lot of good news this contract, but that is such fabulous news, Amy. Like for
I'm
me,
bothered that you couldn't do it before, Susan. So that actually bothers me. So I would like you to ask Corey again why. I mean, maybe it was it a long time ago?
Yeah, because it would have been about 15, 16 years ago.
Okay.
Can I interject in here? TIAA, what does that mean again, exactly?
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce, this is Nicola.
Oh, okay, hi.
Nicola Ortiz, the deaf gentleman using the interpreter.
Yep, so there are two retirement plans that Oakland has access to. One is Fidelity retirement plans and the other is TIA CREF. And they're both different retirement plans that faculty can choose to opt into.
I can maybe add a little bit to what Susan was asking about. I think what they may be talking about is you're not allowed to make contributions into the same fund where the university was putting contributions in. I've been a special lecturer, then visiting, back to special, then back to visiting again. And I've been able to always make my own contributions both ways, but they have to go into separate deposits. because you have to, because the visiting money can be withdrawn, but there are guidelines about when you can withdraw it. And your own money can be withdrawn, but under different guidelines. So they have to be in separate funds, essentially. That may be what they're talking about.
Okay, so I would check with Corey. Corey's generally speaking very responsive. He knows I'm having this meeting today. So I would encourage you to reach out to Corey, and between Allison and Stefan, I think they've put all Corey's information in the chat.
I think, can I say a couple of things?
Sure.
Might be in those cases, I actually would recommend to contact the Chris TIAA person first rather than our school, because they know actually better about those funds. So that's how I understood better and sign up, because when I talked with the human resource, it wasn't clear. But when I contact those the representative from TIAA or Fidelity, they actually had a much better understanding, helping me sign up, choosing those. So probably, Susan, your case, if you contact TIAA, they will direct to you which fund now you can choose from. Actually, you are choosing from just different plans there, so that you can contribute to your fund. Still, TIAA probably will be different plan.
Thank you, Sue. And I do, on my document that I'm going to share after this, I do have the Oakland reps for TIAA-CREF and the rep for Fidelity. I have their contact information on there as well. So I'll share all that, so that I think Sue's suggestion is probably a good one. Other questions about the retirement plans and how to use them? One thing I should,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, this is Jyoti Raman from physics. I just wanted to know what happens if we don't do anything with retirement. The $500 just can be used anyway.
If you don't have if you don't have and don't want to have a retirement plan with Oakland, it will be just put in with your regular payroll in the April 2022 payroll, and it will be taxed fully in the way pay normally is.
What we're for this meeting come December 17th.
Can everybody mute?
Should be in charge of like the side. Who's the side?
This is not muted. You can use it. It will just go into regular payroll. The only way you get the true pre-tax benefit is by adding $500 in that month to a retirement. That's the only way you get a real pre-tax. Otherwise, you still get the money. It's just going to be taxed fully. So it's not going to harm you. The only caveat is if you do add that to the retirement, there is FICA money still taken out. So your federal and your state taxes aren't taken out, but FICA taxes are still taken out, just FYI. Did you have another question?
No, thank you.
Other questions about retirement stuff? All right. So the next one I want to talk about is the pay increase. And this one is.
I forgot to
go ahead,
unmute. I forgot to unmute. I've got two mute buttons here. So I have an unrelated question about retirement. I've been teaching at the community college, and I've been participating in the state's pension plan, MSPERS, but I'm not really accruing the kind of credits that I think it will make sense to do that. Is it possible for me to transfer that money into a TIAA fund without having to withdraw it, take a tax penalty, and then put it back into the new retirement here into the TIAA?
I have no idea, Stefan.
Okay. I'll talk with the TIAA guy then.
Yeah, that is way outside of my wheelhouse. That just, yeah.
We as OU employees can't buy credits for that, can we? Because OU doesn't participate in MSP.
I do not imagine that is possible.
Okay.
But I think if you talk to the TIA, and you just say they dropped the CREF, so I should stop saying CREF?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got a bunch of emails about that and letters too.
Drop the CREF, sorry. Other retirement questions?
I just had a question. I was listening to the explanation about, it sounded kind of convoluted and something that I hope I would remember. Kind of like, when they say, oh, sign up and, you can cancel in a month, and you forget to cancel and they keep charging you. Well, in a similar fashion, you're saying that $500 needs to, jump through a couple of hoops, or, I don't know what tell me.
Yeah, it is exactly what you just described, Sharon. It is hoops. So in March, you're going to have to contact HR with a new salary deduction form that says, hey, in April, I want this additional 500 taken out. And then in April, you're going to have to send that form again to say, in May, I want it to go back to what it normally is. So Corey knows. Corey and I have talked about it. We've talked to George Lever, who's in charge of payroll. This is logistically the only way to make it happen. It's relatively stupid, as is a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's the only way to logistically make it happen. And so Corey's aware of it. So I do think that when it gets to be the beginning of March, I will send out reminders and I will remind Corey, and their office will be aware of it. So hopefully they can help. Maybe we can even encourage, sort of reminders from HR. Hey, did you want to lower this back down? Or
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that, because suddenly you're like, where's my money? $500. Yeah.
it's like remembering to cancel your free trial of,
exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's as convoluted as you think, Sharon. Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for helping me with that. Thanks. All right.
On
Do
some
my-
more convoluted things, let's talk about your pay. I have only spoken to a couple of special lectures about what their November paychecks look like. So after I explain this, if some of your November paychecks look different, we can talk about that. But so the retroactive pay increase was supposed to be in your November paycheck for special lectures. So if you looked at your pay stub, most likely you saw your base rate of pay, and then you had a, Allison, what was it? It was just say retro pay, I think was the title.
Yeah, it was retro pay,
Retro.
and it showed like, the equivalent of,
Well, yeah, I'm going to
the-
explain that. I just wanted to make
Oh,
sure I knew
sorry.
the term, right?
Yeah.
So it's retro pay. And what Oakland seems to have done is given the entire pay increase for the entire fall semester in November. So they've given you the increased, the amount between your original and your increase for the month of September, October, November, and December, all in one paycheck. But for the people I've looked at, their base rate of pay doesn't show the actual increase. So in the instances in the ones I've looked at, technically speaking, the special lecture has the right amount of money. It's just done in a really weird fashion that doesn't make any sense. And the worry and the concern is, come January, we want to make sure that base rate of pay is increased to what it's supposed to be so that there aren't mistakes made come January. So I'm curious if that is what other people understand about their paychecks. If anybody else has looked at their November paychecks. Stefan, I know you looked.
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
I did get the November. I don't know what the numbers are supposed to be, so I really can't tell you though whether it looks right or not.
Well, you can take your, what they say is your retroactive pay.
Okay.
Basically, you need the increase to your previous pay should be 1.25%. All of you are now looking at your pay stubs. So I put in a call to Oakland last week. I talked to them yesterday. They don't know what they did. So they're looking into it to see if this is in fact what they did. And it's really, really strange. They've never done it this way in the past. Hopefully this isn't anything we have to worry about. Hopefully the money was just distributed in a weird way, but it's the right amount of money. And we can just guarantee that in January, that base rate of pay has the correct raised number. That was really convoluted. I'm sorry. Did that make sense? Do you have questions about it? Yes, Karen, I know you trust them completely. I'm on it, I promise.
I guess my comment would be, I've gone from being a student employee to a teaching employee, and it seems like every year they screw up my paycheck, and they do it in fall, right at the time when I have to document my income for my student loan forgiveness program. And I have to send an accurate account of what my pay stub is. And I can't do that if they keep making these mistakes like this. It's always been a hassle every year. Somebody in the HR office needs to get it together and just at least get fall numbers right.
Well, I mean, this fall in particular, there's lots of chaos and confusion in HR, A, because of the contract. And then B, there's a lot of upheaval in HR. And so there's a lot of people moving, and there's upheaval in finance, and there's upheaval in HR, and nobody knows what anybody's doing, and everybody's trying to cover jobs. And so there does seem to be quite a bit of disconnect. I do know that some faculty got multiple letters explaining the differences in their pay. Some faculty have gotten no letters explaining their pay. I don't think anyone in the College of Arts and Sciences has seen any information. But I do think people in other schools might have seen explanations. Does anybody have any questions about? I feel a little stupid telling you all this because it's such ridiculous information, but I would rather you have it than not have it.
Amy, I have a
Okay,
question.
Amy,
Go ahead,
Hi,
Jim.
Amy, Jim Boniface. I understood what you just communicated. I mean, going forward, each year based on the contract, we're supposed to be getting a special lecturers, like an additional increase over the 3 years, isn't it? Each year it goes up a little bit. Am I mistaken on that?
Yes, the special lectures will get the, when you look at the merit pay increase that the full-time faculty have, that will be the increase for special lectures.
Okay,
This year, the increase was 1.25.
right. And going the next year after that, it's 1.25 or maybe higher, I don't know.
It's a smidge higher.
Okay.
I can't remember, 1.5 maybe.
Okay, and based on what you said, it sounds like it's going to happen within the fall semester somewhere for each year, correct?
The pay increase should always be, for special lectures, it should always be in your September paycheck.
Okay,
That would be the beginning of the new, the contract term, the contract year is August 15th to August 14th. And so for special lectures, that means that your new term starts that September paycheck. So that's when
Okay.
those increases should always show up.
thank you, and thank you for all you do. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. There was another question out there somewhere.
okay, Amy,
Too.
oh, okay.
Sorry, go ahead. I think there was someone before me.
Okay, let me ask you one question quickly. Amy, you said 1.125, but when I compare my winter contract payment amount with our original contract amount, it seems that less than the 1.25. It seems like approximately 1.2%.
I'd need to see your stub. Yeah. They get numbers wrong a lot. It's why in general membership meetings, I encourage people to check their paychecks. You need to know what you're supposed to be making, and you need to be checking because they make mistakes, and they make them often. I'm happy to look, Sue, if you want to send it to me and I can look at it too. Anybody who wants to send me that screenshot of their pay stub, I'm happy to go over it with you individually. But I just really, really encourage you to know what you're supposed to be making, know what your checks should look like, and try to get to the bottom of any inaccuracies.
So what I want to know is exactly what percentage should be increased.
Oops, sorry, it should be 1.25.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it looks like I'm a little less too. It's not 0.125.
Well, you all do your mathing.
It looks like I'm 0.012 as well, 1.2%. So is it supposed to be 1.25? It looks like they messed up, at least on two of us.
I don't know. I'd need to see it in front of me.
Is
so.
that pre-FICA, post-FICA? Is there any kind of, or is it's just the gross amount, the 1.25 is
Just a gross
applied?
amount. Yeah, it should just be a gross amount. Yeah.
Okay.
March, did you have a question?
Yes, speaking of gross amounts, if the $152 I got for the whole semester of my retro pay, if I divide that by 4, I got $38 a month raise.
See, now this is the problem. I don't know that they did it the same for everyone. Maybe just they did that. I don't know. So if you look, if you divide it by 2, is it right? Because the way the check should have looked, if we were using logic,
Yeah.
if we were in a rational world,
Right, well, yeah.
There's a lot of ifs in those sentences. But what your November paycheck should have had for your retroactive pay, it should have had retroactive pay just for September and October. Then it should have shown your base pay being increased for November, and that's it. That's what it should have. That's in a logical world, that's how the check should have been structured. I have seen several that are not structured that way. So maybe Marge, yours was structured properly. I don't know. You'd have to look at the numbers. You're like, no, it definitely wasn't.
So Amy, I have a question about the merit pay increase. Is it based on the evaluation? What is it?
No, special lectures are not subject to merit in any way, shape, and or form.
Oh, okay.
We aren't part of it. So we just, the way the negotiations always go is whatever full-time faculty raises get are what special lectures get. And so theirs is more full-time is more complicated because it's 1.25, but not every faculty member, full-time faculty member actually gets 1.25. It depends on their merit score and the breakdown. Whereas with special lectures, it's just an across the board. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Sue, where do you see that the contract says less than 1. Oh, never mind. I'm reading. You're
Well,
just,
I'm talking about I actually got a winter semester contract. So winter 2020. So that means that they should be, that contract reflected a 1.25 increase, right? Because we get the semester by semester contract from our school
Right, but they
business
didn't have-
administration.
but that semester contract you got at the beginning of the semester wasn't accurate. They didn't
No,
have the raises in there
I
yet.
just got it, this contract for the winter semester. A few, actually last week,
Oh,
this is
okay.
not, yeah, this is raised before my last contract, but not raised enough as constitute for 1.25%. It only seems like it shows 1.2% increase. Also pay stub for the November increase also similar, shows only 1.2% and not 1.25%.
So Sue and Stefan, at least if you two could send me yours just as a starting place. I'm wondering if, because the raises are, they're assigned per credit. And I wonder if, and I have a PhD in English, not math, so bear with me here. I'm just wondering if you do the math per credit hour as opposed to by the lump sum, if you get a different number. That could be just
No,
crazy talk.
no, it's not. Yeah.
Okay, all right. But yeah, if you guys, if a couple of you could send me them, I can't, it's hard for, I don't want to go to Joy and Michelle without something in my hand to say, look, this is wrong. Because that's, I've already told them a bunch of other stuff is wrong. Karen, can you? Okay, so Karen Bremer, yours looks like the way I described it. Is that accurate? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you talk. Okay, all right, thanks, Karen. I think that's everything I had. I'm happy to tackle other questions or concerns. But as far as the new contract goes, those are the issues that are specific to special lectures that I wanted to make sure we at least covered.
I have a question. I never really thought about this because, I don't know, but is there any vacation time? Is there anything like that? Any kind of benefits? Yeah, you're like, no.
No, no,
Yeah.
none of that. No, none of the leave policies basically apply to special lectures.
We're
So
just, yeah, underlings.
you're part-time, just part-time employees. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to verify. Thanks.
Jyoti?
Yeah, hi. I had a question, and that's because I'm new to being a special lecturer. I've been a lecturer since 2008, so almost coming up to 15 years. Just last year in 2020 fall, I became a special lecturer. So I did not understand the very first things you spoke about the 4-year and the 8-year. So how does that pertain to me? I've been around for 15 years, but a special lecturer since a year.
So what the contract says is in your first 4 years, I could have this wrong, in your first 4 years, you only get 1-year contracts. When you're in years 4 through 7, you get 2-year contracts. And when you're year 8 and above, you get 3-year contracts. For you, you will be considered in your first year. They will not count your lecturer period towards that contract length.
Okay, that is clear now. That means what category am I? How many years contract?
You're in your first, right?
Yeah.
So you only get 1-year contracts.
Okay.
Yep. Susan?
So, and by the way, apologies, everyone. I got my booster last night at 10 p.m. and I am whooped. So Amy, this may be a really stupid question, and I'm not asking it facetiously toward you or like, but what does the contract do? Because our teaching load is determined by another unit entity, et cetera. Like, does my question make sense? Like,
Makes
I
sense.
love having a longer contract, but what does it get me?
Well, there's lots and lots of answers to that question. So first of all, special lecturers wouldn't get the pay increases they would get without the contract, right? I don't know how many of you teach at other universities, but I know I did as when I was a special lecturer. And I know that the pay at Oakland is actually on the higher end for part-time faculty compared to when I taught at Wayne State, compared to teaching at U of D, compared to teaching at OCC. So you get that. The contract terms are important, even though, so for you, the English department assigns your credits, but the English department is obligated to give you those 16 credits if you're within your contract terms. Now, this is where it gets real fuzzy, right? Because then, well, what if your classes get canceled? So let's say it's winter and I've taught, you know, I taught 8 in the fall and I'm scheduled to teach 8 in the winter. And one of my 2 classes in the winter doesn't run and they have no summer classes for me. So I'm not going to teach 16 credit hours in the academic year. What does that mean if I'm within my 2-year contract? The problem is it hasn't really been pushed. Ostensibly, what we can probably enforce as the union is that if you are currently on an Oakland health insurance plan as a special lecturer, that they are going to have to continue to contribute to the end of that contract length. But we can't force Oakland to give people classes if they aren't available. So there is a sort of a weirdness or an incompleteness to the job security of the length of those contracts, right? They are important, and our department chairs really do, by and large, work really hard to maintain special lecture status. I think they understand how important it is. They're all members of the union as well, and they understand that keeping faculty in the union and keeping that strength in there is important. There's lots of other things in terms of job security. I mean, lots of you have dealt with me about various things in terms of, you know, who's going to complain to the university for you. It's me. So that's what the contract does. It's what we do. It's enforcing the contract and all the terms. So for example, things about, you know, having your tuition benefit, making sure that Oakland's allowing you to use it the proper way, making sure that the clause in the contract that says they can't make you teach online, making sure that's enforced for all faculty, not just full-time faculty. There's lots of clauses in the contract that are applicable to both. There are also, Susan, a lot of clauses in the contract that are only applicable to full-time. I'm not going to pretend there aren't. So it goes this far for special lectures. It doesn't go far enough. And I can't even begin to tell you how hard we fought this round and how much Oakland didn't care. So we tried. Did that answer your question kind of, Susan? Okay. Other questions about stuff?
Well, about the tuition benefit, is that transferable to another university or is it only applicable at OU?
No, it's only applicable at OU, and that's always been the case. The idea is, the notion always is in bargaining. We always assert that it does not cost the university anything. It is a favor. It is a gift that our faculty give to one another, because there's always this, you add in You can go to 1 over cap if the professor chooses to let someone using the tuition waiver benefit. Full-time faculty pay 10%, it's just for fees. But our argument has always been, this doesn't cost you anything. Whereas obviously if it was at another university, it would literally cost money, right?
Well, I mean, the community college offers us a tuition benefit and it is portable. It can be used anywhere. So it
But
just
that's
seems
my point,
unusual-
that
it seems unusual to me
benefit
that OU would even
costs,
fight this when it doesn't cost them anything. And they fought it anyway, right? They said, no,
Yes.
we don't want that.
they
benefit.
fight it every time.
They had a really sweet deal where at other places you would have a portable benefit and they don't have that here. And they still didn't want that. That just seems so wrong to me that they fought that.
Well, they always, I mean, they know, I mean, to some extent, you just have to accept that it's a business negotiation, and they know what matters to our faculty, and our faculty really, really, really care about the tuition benefit. And so, of course, at the last minute, they generally throw it in as a hand grenade, and they're like, oh, by the way, we want to cut this in half, and then we have to fight like hell to keep it. And it distracts you from things that you're actually trying to bargain for. And they do it every time. So it's frustrating, but President Ora told us she was horrified that they went after it. But we could not get her to say that they would not do it again. So.
I had a quick question. You had mentioned something. I didn't write down all the details. I've been at OU for many years, but just now been the special lecturer. So that means that from your conversation that I'm guaranteed a 1-year contract for the first year and then 2-year contract for the second year. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that correctly.
No, it's not until after you've had 4 years of service. Once you've had 4 years of service, then it's up to 2.
Okay.
And once you've had 8 years of service, it's up to 3.
Okay. So right now we're just going from year to year.
Correct. Yes.
Until 4 years. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
I have a
Jaffe?
question, Amy. What are the chances of a special lecturer to be hired as a full-time faculty at OU?
Totally depends on your unit. Totally depends on your unit. I would give you the cynical answer and say not very good. I mean, I was in the English department for 12 years and there was a bunch of searches while I was there and a bunch of special lecturers applied for the full-time positions and never got them ever. So I don't know if anybody's had any other experiences, but it doesn't, in my just personal experience, that doesn't seem to be a typical pathway.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's been my experience as well. I've been working forever in this position, part-time and now special lecturer, but any of the things I applied for, I got passed over, so.
Sue, go ahead.
No, I was speaking. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Jyoti. Yeah, I was just following up on the tuition waiver benefit. That has been very useful because my daughter during the pandemic moved from out of state to our Oakland University. And I really love it that we get that. So the 12 credit increase is actually good for me. Is that right away or do I wait another semester?
No, it should be in effect right now. It's for the, it's per year.
Correct,
right?
correct.
So
correct.
it counts for this academic year, absolutely.
Correct. Very good. So I can get at least 2 more credits for this. Oh, wait. If it's for this academic year, see, I already used 10 for this. When you say academic year, it is 21 to 22?
Yes, but you probably, if it's a course, is she taking the course right now?
See, I already applied for it for her winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I used the 10.
Well, but was she taking more than 10?
12. She was taking 12.
Well, you should get the credit for all 12. I would follow up on that and say.
No, how? I thought we were getting only 10 credits per academic year.
Well, right, but if you used, I'm sorry. So are you saying you are planning on using, you already applied to use 10 for winter of 2022?
I haven't yet. I have to send in my letter now, but I'm a little confused. Is it 10 for the academic year or the calendar year?
It's the academic year. So it would be fall of 21 and winter of 2022.
Okay, so for the fall of 21, I've used up 10.
Oh, okay,
So I
Yeah.
only have 2 left for the next semester is what, since
Correct.
it's raised to 12?
correct.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood.
No,
you
no,
there.
no, but it's still 2, so,
Who's better than none?
yeah, thank you.
Yep. Sue?
My question is, Amy, about the contract year that the special lecturer has been working more than 8 years, they get 3-year contract. But where is the starting and end point of 3 years? So for example, if I have been working 10 years as a special lecturer, that means second year of a contract, or is it from this year, we start with a 3-year contract?
So if you are, let's say you're someone who has 9 years in and you're a year into a 2-year contract, you will now be a year into a 3-year contract. So whatever that 1 extra year will be tacked on.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Sue?
Yeah, so based on your starting year, not from the negotiation year. That's what you are saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes.
But then my question is it really enforceable contract? So for example, I think Suzanne also asked the similar questions. So for example, then when people became the years of 3rd year and then 6th year, 9th year, 12th year. So that means that when they are the years ending, so that means virtually they have no protection for the contract year at all, because your 3-year contract is ending. Amy, you are
They're renewable. So the way the language is
Yes.
written.
Yes,
So-
it's renewable, but that means that virtually, if there is no renewal in 3rd year, so that
Absolutely.
means your protection is gone. So
Yes.
it's no meaning. So that
Well, I mean, it has
okay.
meaning within the 3 years. It does
Okay,
not have
okay.
meaning outside of the 3 years.
Okay.
Absolutely, it does not. Because I mean, it offers you more protection than the 1 year, because most of you have been SLs or adjuncts in various places, and that's the way it usually works. Every semester you can just not be rehired, right? And so what these contracts do is sort of put the onus on Oakland to rehire. Okay, now we're going to rehire you for guaranteed 2 years. Now we're going to rehire you for guaranteed 3 years. And so no, it does not protect you beyond the 3 years.
Okay.
We got an increase in a year, and each time we'll try to ask for more. We certainly asked for more than 3, but 3 is where we ended up. Stefan?
I had a follow-up, I guess, on the pay thing. So I guess I misunderstood. I thought you meant the entire semester was in November's pay, including December. And as I'm doing the math, it looks like I have 0.937% of what I should have gotten in my November check, which is 3/4 of the 1.25. So
I'd
it
have
looks
to see
like
your pay
I
stub.
got September, October, and November in November's check, and it looks like I don't have December's.
Well, does it show your base rate of pay being properly increased?
No.
Okay. Everybody look at your pay stubs.
Okay, let me,
Everybody figure it out. Figure out if you have all the money you're supposed to.
Oh.
If you do not think you have all the money you are supposed to, please send me an email, and it would be super helpful if you screenshotted that part of your pay stub.
no, the base pay is still the same
Okay.
from October. And what I have is 0.937% of the entire semester's salary as a retro pay. And you're saying that should be 1.25%. And so that's 3/4 of what I'm supposed to get. So I'm assuming December, I'll probably get the rest.
Like, I mean, it's one thing for them to mess it up one way, but to mess it up multiple ways, just.
That's what it looks like they did. It looks like I only have 3/4 of the raise.
Well, we're gonna do our
Right.
best to figure this out, Stefan. So,
Well, I sent you screenshots.
okay,
in the-
perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna finish up this document. I'm gonna add a couple things to it based on our conversation today. I will send it to everyone. And I'll send it once I convert this video too, so I can just do it all in one shot. And it should have, I think, everything we talked about today. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for taking the time today. I think it's really helpful to be able to meet. I hope everybody's doing all right. I hope their students are doing all right. I know they're really, really struggling. So if there are ways you think we can support our students this week, please let us know. We've been doing the best we can. All right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Hi, and thank you. It was very informative.
You're very
Thanks.
welcome.
Thank you.